Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 119 of So What's Been Happening. It's Tuesday, the 14th of November. This completes a couple we've done back-to-back. Last night was a great chat with Matt Malone and the Holy Spirits, and we've got a couple of good ones coming up for next week, so they'll be announced shortly. And just before we kick off with Saint Victoire, I believe I'm hopefully pronouncing that right, but I'm sure Heidi's going to tell me whether I've got it right finally. I came across Heidi a few years ago now at a gig at the Corner, actually, in the picture behind me. Pretty sure it was the Corner for an album launch, Timothy Wolf and the Howlers, which was a killer gig, mind you. Riley Catharall and Steph Strings opened for the night. So, yeah, that's where I first came across Heidi's voice, and then kind of looked around and found out who she was. Believe me, I didn't stalk her. Trust me. So I found her through an Instagram post linked to other people, and she was doing some things there, just acoustic, straight into the into Instagram and things like that, and came across her beautiful voice and guitar. What an incredible talent. So we'll talk to her shortly. But just before you do, a couple of gigs for this week that we normally promote. Joyce Pressure tomorrow night at the Drunken Poet. This is a free gig, Wine, Whiskey and Women. So make sure you get down to see Joyce perform some nice, beautiful folk from Joyce. And then Thursday night is the opening at George Lane of a new graffiti piece that's been done in that lane, or artwork in that laneway, and it's inspired by the first song that G-Flip ever did. So there you go. There's a bit of background for you. And Delsinki and Brooke Taylor are going to play afterwards at the George Lane. So make sure you get down to that one. Friday night, there's two gigs, a couple of choice there. Ash Naylor, album launch. His second instrumental album launch. This is going to be at Brunswick Ballroom. This just look like it's going to sell out, so it's going to be pretty packed there. But get along, Ash Naylor, obviously at the Church, Paul Kelly, even Rockwiz. Ash is kind of what he's not in is easier to probably list. And also we've got Friday night down at George Lane again. Luke Sinclair set and Sean McMahon following up there. And just to touch on album of the week that's just been released is Al Matcott. If you don't know this young man, he's an absolute star. So great band, great lineup. His new or debut album called Summer's Coming. And there's a little sneaky pic of Al holding up the record. So there you go. All right. It is, as I mentioned, Tuesday night, episode 119 of So What's Been Happening. We're going to bring up Heidi now, but before we do, I just wanted to do a very quick wrap on the weekend with Lollapalooza. If you don't know what Lollapalooza is, it's a festival run by Lully Tavern in Abbotsford. This is about the third year this has been done. Thanks to Asia, who gave me a little video today to play. I thought this was a really good kind of snippet of about more than 10 bands that played on the day. So here you go, Lollapalooza. thanks to Asia Taylor for supplying that video. It was headlined by Coffin and also the Murlocs. So, absolute madness. A definite. And thanks to Full Flower Moon Band, who were absolutely awesome. And I reckon the star of the entire festival was Leroy McQueen, who debuted with his band. So that was huge. That was great to see. So, all right, without further ado, I've dragged it on long enough. Let's bring her out. Let's bring her up. Heidi Allison. Sorry, Heidi Allison. My apologies. I knew I'd do that. How are you?
Hey, how you going?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
I've actually been called Hayley by so many people my whole life. So
I bet you have. That's rather embarrassing, though. So
yeah, it's all good.
Firstly, welcome and joining us, episode 119. Just a little bit of history on this. This wasn't supposed to go past episode number 1. This was very much a lockdown chat with a couple of mates. Ended up going live on Facebook one day with a music friend of ours who, as you know, the music industry got shut down probably and hit the hardest during that time. And it really became a chat about how everyone was feeling and what we were going to do to try and get through this period of the unknown uncertainty. And it probably went for about 20 episodes after that of different bands and people around the world that we had a chat to, talked footy, talked all sorts of things along the way. So it was a bit of a fun time and in such a bad time. But for a lot of people in the music industry, we decided to just keep this going afterwards. And 100 odd episodes later, we're still rolling along. So thanks for joining us. And it's great to reconnect and connect with people like yourself, Heidi, and understand a little bit about your journey, where you've come from and where you're kind of heading, and an exciting time for you with a new release for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks so much for having me. And I feel like just after already this early introduction with you, I feel like I want to just be a fan of you, because I think what you're doing for musicians is awesome. And just the fact that you are seeing that there's a need there for, I guess, an outlet for musicians to be able to just talk through some of the stuff that they've been through as well. And especially through COVID was one of the roughest times I reckon musos, especially in Melbourne, I think would have experienced. And so thanks heaps for what you're doing as well.
No worries. Appreciate those kind words. All right, we're going to kick off a little bit of a weird spot, but we're going to start off with who was on the radio as you were driving home from wherever you were out today. Give me one band or one song you remember and you sung along to, or was it on the radio, or was it played through another digital outlet?
I just came home from the gym before and was actually listening to the Kid Leroy's new album that he put out. Right. I'm not sure if it was out today or it's this week sometime. And I just fresh. Yeah, I thought I'd give it a spin, and about halfway through, because it doesn't take me that long to get back. So I couldn't tell you what the songs are all called because I was driving and it's just playing.
No worries.
It's actually really good. Yeah.
Great. Good first impressions for sure. Not all albums are first listens, let's face it, are they? So that's great to hear.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Have you got
genre, but yeah.
Yeah, right. Have you got a gym playlist?
I want to say yes, but I'm actually a bit of a massive nerd. So I watch anime while I'm on the treadmill.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm watching Jujutsu Kaisen at the moment. If anybody knows what that is, it's it's pretty cool.
There you go. Well, you're honest. Perfect. That's where we want to start.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take us back a little bit to your kind of growing up as a youngster. This can be at any age, but kind of what's your first real memory of music and played at home potentially? Well, who was it? And what was playing in the house at the time?
My earliest memories. So my older brother was learning guitar. He must have been older. He's like 16 or 18 months older than me, somewhere around there. I think he was learning guitar and I must have been about 4 years old or something. And I really remember vividly he was learning Locomotion by Kylie Minogue. Yeah. And so I remember Mum would drop him off at the guitar lesson and I would kind of just loiter around the outside and listen to what they were doing, and then he'd bring it home and start playing. And so we had a little cassette player that you could record on. Do you remember how you could just record your voice and anything like that from home? And so we have a little recording of me just being like, everybody's now, and I had like a little British accent as well for some reason. Just recording locomotion. But so that's probably my earliest memory, but it wasn't really what we listened to at home. My mum especially she was really into country, but like the country classics. So we had this cassette that was it was a mixtape of Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, Tammy Wynette, Patsy Cline. Trying to remember who else was on there. There was even like a little bit of Elvis on there, and I literally just like listened to that tape until it was chewed. And Mum used to be like, "Turn this tape off! I'm so sick of these songs." But I was obsessed, and I was just this little kid singing like DIVORCE and things like that around the house. So I think I especially gravitated towards Tammy Wynette. I loved her voice and all of the songs. Whether she wrote them or not, I don't even know. But mainly that. Yeah.
Can really identify some of those in amongst your influences for sure. Some of those never leave.
Yeah, they're my ghosts. But I'm not mad about it. So.
Yeah. And what was the last kind of album that you remember of listening all the way through? Because we don't really get a chance to sit down and potentially listen all the way through the albums.
Yeah. I mean, I do it a fair bit, but I work at a cafe, so often we just put albums on and we listen to the whole thing. I'm trying to think what we listened to today. We actually listened to Angie McMahon's new album today at work, and I think that flowed into what were we listening to after that? Folk Bitch Trio after that. Nice. So it was, we went through that until we put on Christmas carols just for fun as well. But yeah, we listened through their whole albums. I listen to like Sam Fender and Holly Humberstone at the moment. I've listened to their albums fully on repeat so many times that I can't get sick of them. So that's probably the main ones at the moment.
Beautiful. All right. What you're going to do, you've been kind enough to play us maybe a couple of songs tonight. So we're going to kind of have a quick break there, and we're going to get you to play something for us. Tell us a little bit about it first, and then we'll get you to play it.
Here's a little guitar that I prepared for you. What should I play first? So we released a single recently called Foreigner, and I might start there. I'm just going to put it up a little bit as well tonight. So
go for it.
Yeah, this one's called Foreigner. Take me back to walking down Cuba Mall. In Wellington, I would hear music coming out somewhere before the cold, cold air, telling me I'll revive. Then I heard a voice behind me sing, come back again. By a little door I entered in, climbed a staircase to the stars, and in a dark stage beyond the bar stood a Jew singing John bells. Yes, that was a happy time for me, till the darker days came rolling in like unwelcome company. Yes, that was a happy time for me. Now my heart, it aches with goodbye. So I sing happy songs to forget that I'm unhappy. If I'm alone with my thoughts, I only cry. There are dreams that I once had, but they're far off now. In my heart, it aches with goodbye. My mother and my father, well, they're long gone now. My mother and my father, they're gone. And they didn't leave me nothing but a blinded world and stumbling in. And a dream of mine still lost within the clouds. I feel like a foreigner wherever I am, like I'm coming out from no man's land. And whenever I speak, they don't seem to understand. And when I sing, they only seem to cry. So I sing happy songs to forget that I'm unhappy. I'm alone with my thoughts, I only cry. There are dreams that I once had, but they're far off now. In my heart, it aches with goodbye.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Foreigner.
That's a powerful song.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that. I know a little bit of the backstory only because I've read a little bit about it, but it's better to hear it from you. Tell us a little bit about that song and some incredible lyrics in there, mind you. So just tell us a little story about how that came about.
Yeah, there is a bit of backstory to this one. It was a very, very important song, I felt, for me to write. So the story really begins with my mum's story. She was 17 years old when she left Cambodia, and this was just at the time. So she'd been through the civil war there, and then won a scholarship to go to New Zealand to study. And it happened to be just at the point in time when the Pol Pot regime, or the Khmer Rouge, took over in Cambodia. And so her parents stayed behind, and she went to New Zealand. And so the lyrics at the beginning of the song were really from my mum reminiscing to me at the kitchen table one night and telling me how when she first arrived in Wellington, she had like her memories are really fond of that time. And she she just felt like that was one of the best times that she'd lived through, where she felt like everything was fun and beautiful, and going and listening to live music in Cuba Mall and things like that. And then it was shortly after that time that she found out that her mum had actually died. They'd had to flee into the forest, and she couldn't survive. She starved to death pretty much. And so my mum found out she couldn't return to Cambodia, and then she wasn't reunited with her dad until 36 years later, when she finally returned. And I think hearing that story from her, and her just talking about the feeling of displacement that she's had throughout her entire life, going from New Zealand and ending up in Australia and marrying my dad, and still feeling like she never really had the opportunity to do the things in life that she really wanted to do, because a lot of it was connected to home. And then as she was talking about it, the first two verses are pretty much word for word what she was saying at the kitchen table, and then I kind of embellished a bit on the rest of it, but inserted a bit of my own story, because I also had a lot of that feeling, and have grown up with that feeling of just feeling like a foreigner, even though you're surrounded by friends and family and people that you know, but you don't always feel like you really belong. And I don't know if you've ever experienced it as well, but just that there's that feeling inside where you're like, something is not quite fitting. Like I don't, even when I speak or some of the poetry I've done or songs that I write or whatever, what kind of hobby you might be into doesn't always get met or feel understood by other people. So I really wanted to represent that in the song as well. And yeah, and then having gone through COVID too, so many people had dreams that were really shattered in that time too. So all of that, and then yeah, seeing how it's not just my mum and it's not just me, but many people have experienced that in their life. And so yeah, I could probably talk about it all day really, but that's the short version of it. Why I wrote that song. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that, because it's an incredibly powerful, moving situation that so many families faced. Generally, not so much at our age, but much older than us. We are so appreciative of what they went through, and can't even really fathom how bad it really was to have done that, and flee, give everything, move everything, and flee, and not potentially see relatives like she did till 30 plus years ago. I mean, later, that's just absolute crazy if you got to see them at all in some instances. So, but you're right. There's so many connecting blocks amongst that you're right. Whether it be at gigs around people, surrounded by people that you kind of don't feel like you really fit into their life or their community, or you may feel a little bit different to them. Maybe I think because we judge ourselves so much internally now.
Yeah.
It's probably not that we don't fit in. We just don't think we fit in.
Yeah, that's right. It's a lot of our own perception here. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think one of the most beautiful things is the journey of music, and a gift like that you've been given to be a storyteller, as well as being able to communicate that with your voice and a guitar is an incredible gift, Heidi. So please, I know you want to keep pushing this, and you're back with a vengeance this time after a little quiet period, some time off, we say, but you've really hit the ground running now, and I think full of momentum, given your little gig you had not that long ago at the Gasso.
Yeah.
This was a great one. Sadly, I didn't make it. I had every intention of getting there, but I heard some great things and saw some great footage, and it's one of those beautiful venues that just has that mirror ball and has some kind of like star lights that kind of just shine around the room. And with being in there with some good friends and playing some good music with a great friends and band, this must have been a really important one for you.
Yeah. It was that one. I was just stoked to be able to play that show. I think especially because we'd waited so long to put Foreigner out, and I was like, I just want to play something to celebrate this. And yeah, the band that I play with, I feel so incredibly blessed. And like, you know, when you just pinch yourself, you're like, how did I end up with these people wanting to play with me? Like, I feel like I'm the fan in the band all the time. I'm like, guys, you're so amazing. And they have, like to be able to play shows like this with them, I couldn't think of anything better. Like we all love each other heaps, and we just have so much fun. And yeah, I also was really just overwhelmed by the support that we had from the audience as well. Like people really showed up in a way that I didn't anticipate, and also they were just there as well. Like, you know, sometimes you play a show and everybody kind of chats through the whole thing or something. And so I think it was really nice to see that they were really attentive to the songs, and really felt loved and supported in that show. And so that was a special one for me. And I don't think I'll ever forget that show. It was just it was such a great time for us. So yeah,
as you shouldn't forget it, and that pays kind of homage to, you know, what you've been able to put together, the people that you're surrounding yourself with, and also the incredible artists that you've got on stage with you. People are attentive at good shows that are around good people. So what a great way to cap off a beautiful song, to finally get it out into the world. I know I kind of read a little script that you had written that mentioned that you just wanted to put it out perfect and you just wanted to have it right, and when was the right time, and paying, the best respect you could to your mum's story. So well done on finally getting it out there, and we'll make sure we try and push it as hard as we can to anyone that will ever listen to me. Trust me, they're going to know about this song because it's beautiful. Well done.
Thank you so much. Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's flash back a little bit to, sadly, a couple of shows that probably got then postponed previous to that, back a little while ago. This was pre-COVID, then kind of the COVID lockdowns and all that happened. That was this one at the Workers. This got rescheduled, I think, about 3 times from memory. Was that right?
I think it was something like that. 3.
Yeah.
Well, I think we got the fourth. The fourth date happened. That was the one that we eventually. Yeah. Yep. And it was so good to finally play that show. Because that one was the EP launch, and I think it was almost a year after the EP had been released that we got to play the launch for it. So it wasn't really a launch anymore. It had been out, for nearly a year, I think. But it was kind of nice because, like hindsight is such a good thing when you find out later on that if we'd played the show like exactly when the EP had come out, we wouldn't have had a ton of the songs that we had ready to go by the time we did play it. I wrote a lot. Was it like 8 or 9 months of the show being postponed, and we had plenty of time to work with the band and get the songs to a much better place than they would have been if we kind of just gone ahead when we had the first date. So so I feel really like sometimes you feel devastated in the moment, but then later on you just see that there were really good things that came out of stuff that was hard. So yeah.
Well, 2 beautiful rooms to play in, also in Melbourne. We're incredibly lucky to play the Workers Club. That little back room is a magic little bar at the back there, and also obviously we mentioned the Gasso as well. But we'll get you to play something else now, and then we'll just have a little chat about your songwriting and how you're going to go about your songwriting.
Yeah, cool. I haven't even fully decided what to play next. I think I'll play one of the first songs that I wrote that kind of led to. Sorry, just tuning for a sec.
You're right. No problem.
Vic-twar. Really one of the very earliest songs. Just gotta make sure I remember how to play it. Yep, I do. This song is Get Free From It All.
Beautiful.
I never seen a world like this. I never been dry like this. I never walked or died like this. Man, I smoke, but I don't feel the fire. Now I'm worried about the other life. This company I'm keeping like got this, but it's not watertight. And we float, but we don't feel the high. And oh, I remember you told me be sweet in my heart, but it's too hard to start. And oh, it was never for me to get free from it all. Now it started to go. That's just how I've been. Now I know about the trouble I breed. I'm not deluded by what's troubling me. I hate the joke and now the joke will hate me. But man, I don't think I know everything. And oh, I remember you told me be sweet in my heart, but it's too hard to start. And oh, it was never for me to get free from it all. Now it started to go. When we sat there in the dark with a new song on repeat as it breaks our hearts. But if whatever's real exists within me now, then my soul and mind on a disconnect somehow. That's just how I've been. The end.
Yeah, beautiful. You almost caught me a couple of times then with an almost end.
Oh yeah. I do that sometimes too. That happened the other night. Everybody started clapping, and I was like, "Oh, there's still
not yet." Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about the songwriting process for you and kind of how you've done it so far, and now in conjunction with being a band and extending kind of past the life as a single artist, effectively. Or a solo artist, how are you kind of going about your journey now with songwriting?
Well, most of the songs that I write, if they're ones that I keep, they sort of kind of happen very easily. I don't know how to. Yeah, I don't really know how to explain the process too much, except often I dream the songs before I write them. So it's most of my songs are written in the morning, actually, because it'll be while I'm sleeping, I hear myself performing a song. And so then I'll wake up and quickly write everything down, run to the guitar and play it. Or other times they kind of hit me at really inconvenient moments, like when I'm driving or something and you're like, hey, Siri, make a voice memo, and just try and put down everything that I can while I'm driving. But yeah, it's often in the morning or when, I think it's possibly because that's when you have the freshest mind, and I try and process a lot and let go of a lot at the end of the day and do like a daily analysis so that I sleep well, and then when I wake up I don't really have much on my brain. So I think that's where the creativity kind of comes from. And yeah, usually it'll be like on a day where I'm not at work and I'm at home, and I'll quickly put a song down, and if it takes me more than 20 minutes to write it, I usually throw it away because it's like, I feel like the way that I want to write songs is that it feels intuitive and that the melodies feel like it's a natural place for them to go, and the lyrics go in a natural place. And so it's kind of more of writing is like a listening activity for me, where I try and hear what's next, and then I put it down. So it feels bizarre because often I write songs and I'm like, I feel like I didn't write that. It feels like I was given these songs. And yeah, probably Foreigner is the main one that I didn't write in the morning because my mum was telling me the story, and so I was just writing that in my notes while she was talking, writing her words down, and then I got home, and then my housemate went to get coffee, and by the time she went to the coffee shop and came back, I just finished the lyrics and put a melody to it, and was like, this is the song. But then when I take it to the band, the guys are so good at interpreting what's in my head into their instruments, and I think they really understand like my influences and my styles, and so they all just really respect that. So a lot of the instrumentation is written by the band, and we all do it collectively, and I'll be like, oh yeah, this is kind of like the artist that I'm wanting to reference for this song, and they all just play it like straight away. So, and then we're like, oh yeah, this is really good. So it does help that they are all incredibly talented.
Sure are.
This is just magical. You guys just did it again. So I love rehearsals, especially when putting songs together and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How magic is it to have that now as a band? Incredible artists. I mean, let's face it. I'll get you to introduce them in a second, but they're truly world class. Some of these guys, if not all of them, in this band. You're incredibly lucky, but like I said, you surround yourself with good people, and if your songs can get a lease of life, it's incredible that some people just know what to play when. Sometimes a lot less is more in some instances. So just tell us a little bit about this beautiful band.
Yeah, so well, the first person I would talk about is Jono. So he plays keys, and he's actually my husband as well, which
we have to mention him first.
Past year, so it's just been a year since we got married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been lots of fun, and I think ever since we've done a lot of performance and music stuff growing up. I've known him pretty much my whole life, and I think I've just always admired him more than anyone else's keys player. And so I didn't marry him so that he would be in my band, but I would say that it's a really huge bonus that he can't say no anymore. He's always been someone that I've felt, even before we were together years ago, we always wrote songs together, and he's always been a voice and a person that I've trusted in music, and has really, really good taste, and is very good at being honest with me when something doesn't sound good. He's like, don't put that in. And I'm just like, thank you for being that honest person for me. He's the one who's got the real good music taste out of us. But and then so initially, I'm trying to think what order to say everybody, and everyone's just awesome, but
they won't be judged now by the order that happens now. They're not judged. Okay.
Order. We have Graham King on the drums, and he's one of those people that plays in many bands. He's like probably if you know of the band, he's probably in it. But it's been really nice because he is a really good friend, and was like, I will prioritize you, and so I'm just trying to hold.
That's nice to hear.
Don't run away to other the band. He and then there's Sam Tinsley, who's on the bass as well. The four of us have played shows for a really long time together, just not Saint Victoire stuff, but just like we're playing in a prison in a few weeks and things like that. Like we like to go and play shows wherever we can, and people had mentioned to us years ago, they were like, when you guys play together, you have they were like, it's like you have soul ties or something, and so we've always joked that we're called soul ties, like the four of us. And and so we've all been playing together for so long that it feels really easy, and they're like brothers to me. So that was, as soon as Saint Victoire started, I was like, of course I'm going to ask these guys to play. And then we just got really lucky with Timothy Wolf as well, joining the band and jumping on electric and vocals as well. And like you've had him on the show before as well, and so you've heard his voice, and he's incredible. And so I think that was someone we met playing at a wedding for someone. So he was doing all the music, and then someone asked me to sing them down the aisle. So that was how we ended up meeting, because we had to work on a song. And then someone at the wedding was like, you guys should do, like, you should get him to help you with your band, or like be in your band. I was like, there's no way he will ever ever. He's too busy, he's too famous, like he would never want to help us out. And funnily enough, he was stuck around. So yeah, so he's made a huge contribution. He has really great ideas around crafting songs, and and so while we've been building all of the music and stuff, really appreciated his input, and he puts in a lot of time and effort as well. So yeah, that is the band. We've had visitors, little guest appearances as well. At the Gasso was really great too. We had Aiden. Oh gosh, I can't even think of his last name. But anyway, Aiden
on guitar,
saxophone.
Sax,
So you might hear a track, a bit of a live track from that show. Hopefully before the end of the year that we'll release. That's got some fun sax as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you talked about some beautiful souls, and Timothy Wolf is definitely one of those. Incredible talent, absolutely incredible talent. I don't think he realizes how good a talent he is, and how amazing he really is.
Maybe that's what.
Yeah, I totally agree that your voices really match too, in respect of that incredible range he's got.
That falsetto.
And one of those, you talk about moments in shows, and kind of had one of those moments just before when you first started, and it's one of those first times you hear your voice. It just grabs you, and makes you instantly breathless. And they're those really good moments as a music listener. So thanks for doing that. And I definitely get that with Timothy and a few other artists that we've had. Karen Fields is another one, Matt Joe Gow, who are all kind of in that Americana folky country scene that are doing some great things. So congratulations on everything you're doing. Tell us a little bit about more. What have you got coming up? I know you've got a gig December 7, Berkey Band Room, this one.
Yeah. I'm very excited to play this show too, because I'm a huge fan of Sydney. So I think I was just like, I want to play the show just so I can watch you. Really. She is incredible, and I think again one of those artists where you watch them and it's like you're just watching something magical happening in front of you. Like she is incredibly talented. So I feel very lucky, and Kat Edwards is playing as well that night. So it's going to be, I'm going to have to, try and contain myself being around this, because they're amazing artists. So so I'll be playing that one solo, which will be only my second ever solo show that I will have done. The last one that I did was for Timothy Wolf's tour in Bendigo, and I think we played to 10 people. But I played to his whole band, which was very daunting, and then a few others. It was a cute little spot there. So I haven't played a solo show since then, and would love people to come and hold my hand while I do that.
Yeah, great. And you had one just on the weekend, I think it was, or just before.
I played Sofa
Sounds. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that concept. Sofa Sounds, how it comes up. It's quite an intimate little underground scene that's put together. These are great gigs.
Oh, honestly, it's like the sickest thing that I've been to, I reckon. Like I've watched it on YouTube over the years and always thought I would love to have the opportunity to play one of these shows. So I did cry when I got the email inviting us to play. I was just like, I've always wanted to do this. So anyway, they put on these really intimate shows that are somewhere between, I think the spaces are like between 20 or 30 people to up to, I guess some venues could hold 100 people, but it's meant to be quite intimate. And they're very strict about not talking during the songs, and really paying attention to the artists. And I love that they've created that environment where everyone understands the rules and they really respect it. And nobody, as far as I know, it's a secret who the artists are up until they get up to perform. So so people are really kind of similar to you, actually, just really about the music and wanting to get like whatever new artists they can just into their repertoire of everything that they are fans of. And so it's a really good place to discover new music. And yeah, and so I think as an artist, it just felt so nice to not have that pressure of trying to sell tickets, for example, because everyone's just buying the tickets because they want to be there. They don't.
Yep.
It's not like an ego kind of activity. It just feels like it's not about you. If the tickets don't sell out, it's not your fault. So I think having that pressure taken off also just made it feel so nice to be there and to play. Yeah, so I love what they're doing, and I hope it keeps going forever.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you've been incredibly lucky to play. Well, not just lucky. You make your own luck to some degree, but you've been lucky to have some pretty full venues recently. That's not always the case, and that's getting harder and harder to do at the moment. There's so many gigs. Look, we are blessed here in Melbourne, that's for sure. Some unbelievable venues. We've touched on 3 or 4. Bergie Band Room's another one that's just popped up as kind of a little new setup. It used to be just a little arch in that little room there in the front bar, which was amazing in itself, but it's now turned into quite a really nice little band room there. Yeah, how nice is it to have not spoil for choice, but it's great to have great venues, and we're incredibly lucky to have them. It's not always the case when you start to travel, which I guess dare say in the new year you're going to start to find out.
I hope so. There's always the things that I hope will happen, and obviously there's a lot of hustle involved in getting that stuff happening, but I am doing my best to hustle over here. So but yeah, it's like, especially in Melbourne, and having grown up even just going to watch other artists, we seriously have some of the best venues that I know of, and the sound is incredible, and we have incredible sound engineers everywhere. Like, if you don't get your first pick, then whoever the second or third or fourth pick is, they're also amazing. And so, I think we're really, really lucky, and it's nerve-wracking approaching venues. I think sometimes, especially as a very small and starting out artist, I think especially that first Workers show, I was like, they're never going to let me play. Like, I'm not anybody. All we have is just this EP that we've made. And so I think, just maybe even as an encouragement to other artists, if you're not sure about booking it, I think it's even worth just emailing and having the conversation, because the people who are booking the bands really, like, they know whether there's going to be an audience or not for you. And so I really enjoy just trusting and listening to what they have to say to it. It's like, maybe don't book the Saturday night. It might be a hard night to sell out or something like that. And so I think, I like learning everything I can from the bookers at venues, and learning from other artists, and watching and seeing how everybody does their kind of journey. And so, so I think we're super spoiled, and and hopefully it just keeps getting bigger and better as well.
Yeah, well, I think that's some unbelievable advice for some young artists that have probably questioned how they can get a gig and how they can cut through. And you're 100% right. You never know unless you punch that email out. And then next time you touch base with them, you're not a cold contact anymore. You're very much hopefully they remember the last email you sent, because they're able to give you a bit of advice on their journey. So just tell us quickly an artist that we may or may not be familiar with, that you're kind of really looking up to at the moment, and drawing some inspiration from.
Who am I getting inspiration from? I love Charlie Adams. I don't know if you've heard of her. She is I think she was based in Nashville. Maybe she's in LA now. But her vocals are incredible. I love her songwriting. She's just young and doing amazing things. And I mentioned earlier, but I'm a huge fan of Sam Fender, so I think that's starting to filter into our sound a little bit. There's been a few people who mentioned from the last gig, they're like, this is very Sam Fender, Bruce Springsteen, so it's kind of
nice that you've captured some of it.
Yeah, we might be heading in that direction a little bit. There's so many, but a lot of Australian artists are doing really great things. Like I love watching what Greta Ray is up to, and Angie McMahon is a huge influence for me as well. Charlie Collins as well. She's an old friend, and love just like she's always going to kill it. She's one of the best artists, I think, honestly, that I've ever seen live. Like she is amazing. And so I would say that her albums on repeat, Undone and Snowpine, they're like, I wouldn't switch those off ever. So yeah, they're probably my top ones that off the top of my head. Probably
plenty of talent in amongst that sort of half a dozen odd. I'll make sure I look up some of those names and check back through some back catalogs as well, because it's never always a first listen. And that's the magic of, I suppose, the big world that the internet is now, having you being able to put music out in somewhat of a different way to what it used to be. How are you kind of finding that as a journey at the moment of trying to get some cut through for the classic? You judge by listens, so to speak, on Spotify and all that to give you some reach. How are you navigating that as a young musician?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm incredibly good at that, because I feel like imposter syndrome is a bit of a buzzword at the moment with musicians, but it's really hard to feel like you are making any impact or even that you belong. And so it's surprising when people say they've listened to the song, because you're like, oh, it just feels like it's not like you put all this work into a song and then it kind of just is out for a day for everybody, and then it's on to the next thing. But I really was determined not to do that with Foreigner, because I didn't spend all the time that I needed to spend, or any of the money I probably should have spent to try and get it playlisted, because I felt like it wasn't that kind of song for me. It was more like for my life and a thing that I really have to do. I wanted to create that song just as I felt like it should be created, and if people like it, they like it, and if they don't, they don't. And I didn't really imagine that it would be it's not a pop song, so I didn't really think that it'd be grabbed everywhere. But I loved receiving stories from people who really related to the song. And so for me, I think I just kind of checked out of looking at plays. Like it hasn't gone viral or anything like that, but I appreciate every single listen that it's had, because I think knowing that most of those came from personal relationship with people, and that they actually went and took the time to listen to it. It might be like, I don't know how many it's had, but a couple of thousand listens means the world to me, because it's I probably know most of the people that have listened to it, and so I think that gives me the joy in that song. But I feel like moving forward with other stuff that we're creating, obviously I want to I think I will push a little bit harder with those ones, because like it's really hard to create an income or anything like that through music at the moment. But I really just want to be able to spoil the band, like not kind of keep using all their talent and not have anything to give back to them. So my hopes is that it will kind of generate something, so that there's a bit of reward for everybody's effort. But for just for personally, I'm not trying to think too much about the plays or anything like that, because I just feel so privileged to be able to make music at all. So
Well, I'm privileged enough to have been able to find you, Heidi, and Saint Victoire. It's an incredible lineup. There's some beautiful music ahead. Good luck on this journey, and we'll see you around the traps, no doubt. Here's where you are going to find on the link tree. We'll post these in the comments later. please do yourself a favor, as Molly would say, jump on and gift. Most importantly, try and gift this song to someone else, because I can tell you, once that hits their inbox on their email, they'll be very thankful later on. And you're right, this could be one song that just sits in amongst your back catalogue that people discover over time, and you'll hear some incredible stories like you're already starting to hear on other people's journeys in life. So I think that's the beauty of music and how people interpret it, very much so. So good luck on your journey. Thanks for joining us on episode 119 of What's Been Happening on a quiet Tuesday night, let's face it. I'm sure you'd be reading or sleeping and dreaming of another song. I think that was a really nice little insight of how the songs come to you. They're almost like a listen for you, instead of a something you write. You kind of basically writing the words that you feel like someone's told you, and I think that's an incredible way to approach the rest of your songwriting potentially. So well done and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks heaps, Aaron. I've really loved being on here. It's been a great chat.
Awesome. Nice to hear. It shows you how quickly an hour can go by. I didn't waste too much time.
It has been
an hour. So you've been very generous with your time. A couple of beautiful songs there. Thanks for joining us on episode 119.
You're amazing.
And we'll see you soon. All
See
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wow. Heidi Allison. What an incredible artist. Make sure you check out the links for Saint Victoire. And also I'd like to quickly thank this list of incredible artists that we've had on this little journey so far, and may there be many more coming up in the future. So have a great week. Make sure you get out and see a gig. Most importantly, connect with an artist. Please jump on and buy a few CDs. It's one of those madness crazy Fridays coming up where there's a lot of stuff on sale. And there's also Bandcamp Fridays and all sorts of things to jump on and try and gift music to people. So please think of artists in amongst leading into Christmas. That would be an incredible gift to give a friend, a new artist that they've never heard of, and become a passionate fan, most importantly. So look forward to seeing you out there at a gig soon, and look after yourselves. Have a great week. See you later.